kind of recapping on the bigger stories. Some of the smaller stories couldn't make it into the show this week, but that's okay. Let's jump right into the first headline. It's our weekly update into the ongoing Activision Blizzard update. I've started placing these first on the list just so we can get it out of the way.
Okay.
Also, oddly enough, it usually is just the first thing that pops up when I make these scripts. But let's get into it. So, firstly, Sony, they're fighting. They're still fighting the good fight. They're out there, Devroro. They're out there claiming that Xbox, if the merger goes through or the acquisition goes through, Xbox is going to produce buggy, glitch-filled versions of Call of Duty on PlayStation. The following goes from Tom Warren on Twitter. Sony suggests to the CMA that Microsoft could release buggy version of Call of Duty on PlayStation, in which could make gamers lose confidence in PlayStation as a go-to venue to play Call of Duty. They say, and I quote, "Third, swiftly detecting any diversions from and ensuring compliance with a commitment as to technical or graphical quality would be challenging. For example, Microsoft might release a PlayStation version of Call of Duty where bugs and errors emerge only on the game's final level or after later updates. Even in such degradations could be swiftly detected, any remedy would likely come too late, by which time the gaming community would have a lost confidence in PlayStation as a go-to venue to play Call of Duty. Indeed, as Modern Warfare 2 attests, Call of Duty is most often purchased in just the first few weeks of release. If it became known that the game's performance on PlayStation was worse on Xbox than on Xbox, Call of Duty gamers could decide to switch to Xbox for fear of playing their favorite game at a second-class or less competitive venue." Deborah, what are your thoughts on Xbox? All right, so I'm gonna paint a picture for you because recently you played the Modern Warfare trilogy. Let's say you're playing Modern Warfare 2, right? And you're chasing after General Shepard in that last level. Remember when we're going down that river in the desert? What if you're in the river and all of a sudden the game just like crashes and it's like, sorry, bud, you're not playing on the right console.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean,
what is the likelihood?
It is kind of funny, but I mean, it is a possibility, Like,
oh, come on.
You don't think that's possible?
Yo, put out a I love the way they word it, especially where it's like, oh, like the last level, like Xbox is gonna be like, screw you to those people that make it to the end of the campaign. You play through the whole game.
I mean, it's very
make it to the last level. It's like,
like that is very petty and it is very shitty. I don't think it would happen. It can happen. I don't think it would happen.
Sony goes on to say, Sony isn't happy with Microsoft's Call of Duty 10-year deal. Microsoft have, quote-unquote, dragged their feet, engaged only when they sensed the regulatory outlook was darkening, and favored negotiating in the media over engaging with SIE, which is Sony. Tom Warren notes that, despite this, Nintendo and Nvidia at the time have both signed the 10-year deal. Microsoft says its 10-year deal for Call of Duty on PlayStation means any COD game can be on Sony's subscription service. Sony says Microsoft's proposal for license game terms is troubling and would commercially destroy SIE's multi-game subscription business model.
I mean, that is cool that they can have it on their subscription service.
It's part of the deal. It's been part of the deal for a few phases now, actually. Microsoft also pointed out that they are planning on, following the merger closing, they're going to make the PlayStation exclusive Call of Duty benefits available for everyone at the same time, with no exclusive perks on any console.
Okay.
That's nice.
That's something I think they gave up that they didn't want to. I do think Microsoft wanted exclusive content, and then this deal started to get rocky, and they said we got to give that up. It just doesn't make sense to not.
It's possible. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go against that one. That's definitely a possibility.
I do think exclusive content, as dumb as you and I, we argue about it all the time because it is just like lower stuff. I mean, sometimes it's a map or whatever, but I guess it gets people in the door.
Next up, so obviously I said in the last tweet or the tweet prior that Nintendo and Nvidia signed 10-year deals. Well, Microsoft also announced a partnership the past 2 weeks with cloud gaming provider Boosteroid to bring even more games to more players around the world. Through a new 10-year agreement to support Boosteroid's leading Ukrainian software development team, Microsoft will bring Xbox PC games as well as Activision Blizzard titles, including Call of Duty, to the largest independent cloud gaming provider in the world. So they're just going out there like, hey, you have a streaming service?
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
And like, here's
that's the deal. I mean, they're going around giving everyone.
Phil Spencer, pick up the phone. Call of Duty comes to the game room. No, but
trying to prove a point. This is all just proving a point.
oh, it's absolutely proving a point.
Yeah, that's all this is.
But at the end of the day, like the point is still proven.
Yeah.
So it's like Call of Duty is going to be available to millions of more people. Like,
Doubt that. I think.
well, I'm saying if you include the Nintendo and Nvidia and Boosteroid,
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never heard of Boosteroid before.
No,
this.
yeah, no.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you don't know Boosteroid. No, I don't know Boosteroid. But at the end of the day, like they are just adding on to where you can play Call of Duty, and I think that that's in line with what they want. That's in line with what they want to do. And I think that's their plan all along. I mean, we can disagree on that, but I mean, it's all about those pillars. I had a great chat with TJ. I mentioned it before the chat. I was on his live stream, and I was telling them about how I viewed Xbox's business model and why the Activision Blizzard thing makes sense for Call of Duty to not be exclusive. And it's like you have Minecraft and Call of Duty as the two pillars of revenue, and you can just let your development studios do whatever they want to do. They can make games like Hi-Fi Rush. They can make games like Grounded. They can make games like Pentiment. And these games don't have to be big money movers because they'll make their money elsewhere. And if these other games make money, then that's just all bonus. It's great. But I digress. Next up on the Xbox update, Sony has blasted Microsoft's Activision deal with a range of bizarre claims. They're once again upset about the Activision Microsoft deal. In comments to the UK CMA, Sony claimed that Microsoft hasn't offered solutions, despite Activision CEO Bobby Kotick saying that Sony refuses to return their calls. Microsoft once again proposed legally binding mechanisms to continue bringing Call of Duty to PlayStation, something it obviously was going to continue doing anyway, like Minecraft. Yeah, this is just. I think I might have actually double posted this in my script, so that's fine. But this is basically kind of a follow-up from Windows Central about the posting of, Call of Duty being a buggy mess, glitchy buggy mess. Oh, that's why I added it in, because the one part where they're not returning our calls. Sony is just straight up not returning Xbox's or Microsoft's calls. And I think that's kind of very interesting. Very, very interesting on their part. I also like something else that I noted is that just Activision is like on the sidelines, like all their CEO and all their like higher ups, they're on the sideline, like, yeah, screw you, Sony. Like, if the deal doesn't go through, right? How awkward is that for between Activision and Sony? Because like Activision has been very like, obviously they want to be acquired, so they're very on Microsoft's side. What do you think of the relationship between Activision and Sony looks like if the deal doesn't go through?
Activision is a money company, so as long as there's money coming in, I don't think it matters.
Could you imagine like the deal doesn't go through and it's like, hey, so you guys want that exclusive beta this year?
Yeah. As long as they pay up, it'll go through.
Oh man. And then our last little bit here, coming from PureXbox.com. Sony just wants to block the merger, according to Activision Blizzard's COO, which is what I was just talking about. The latest comments from an Activision higher up comes from their chief communications officer, Lulu Cheng Meserve, who explains why Sony keeps refusing to accept Microsoft's Call of Duty offer. In her own series of tweets, she mentions how SIE CEO Jim Ryan just wants to block the acquisition from going through. She goes on to say, Microsoft offered Sony, the dominant console leader for well over a decade with 80% market share, a 10-year agreement on far better terms than Sony would ever have gotten from us. We've also offered Sony guaranteed long-term access to Call of Duty, but they keep refusing. Why? The CEO of SIE answered that question in Brussels, which was at the press conference that Microsoft had. In his words, I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger.
I mean, yeah, again, that makes sense from Sony's point of view.
I mean, absolutely, I get it why they're fighting it, but the point is it does come off as very silly. It's at a point now where you're just kind of, I think you're just, we're beyond that point, I guess. You're just embarrassing yourself. You're trying to fight this acquisition, and I think you're fighting a losing battle. And if you're going to fight a losing battle, like, it's like that saying, pick your hill to die on. I don't think this is the hill you want to be going out there.
I think this is the hill. This is a very, very.
But it's a losing hill. You're losing this hill. You're sliding. You're rolling down the hill already. There's no getting back up. It's a mountain.
It's like being behind 3 touchdowns. Quarter. You're just gonna give up. You gotta go out there and you gotta do the play.
Most of the time they do just kind of give up.
But you gotta do it.
I guess.
It sucks.
I would argue it's more like being down 5 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's just me. These deals with Nintendo and Nvidia and et cetera, they're going to be the reason why it goes through. Like that's just a fact. All right, number 2 in the headlines. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League has been delayed. Originally came from IGN. They go on to say Rocksteady's Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is facing another delay. According to the report from Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, Warner Brothers has delayed the game from its May 26th release date. This comes after fan backlash from the gameplay shown in Sony's most recent State of Play. However, as Schreier noted, delays like this are mainly for polish, rather than overhauling the gameplay elements fans weren't fond of in the last month's reveal. And then to follow up, Jeff Grubb said on his show that the delay is probably actually going into next year, into 2024. That's what he's hearing. That's not a simple few-month delay. So I want to get your thoughts on this, Dev, because my initial thought was, oh, they're delaying the game. This is excellent. They're responding to the fact that this game is a huge disappointment. And then just to say it's more so just for polish, that was just like, man, so this game is unpolished and it's a disappointment? Like, for me, that was like...
I think you have to say it's for polish, because if you say that you're overhauling anything, that you lose confidence in what the final product will be.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think they're going to change some things fundamentally about the game. I do think it's still going to be like that kind of shooter that you don't like. Like I said, when I saw the initial gameplay, it's not that I didn't like the gameplay I saw. The gameplay I liked. It wasn't what I wanted from Rockstar, based off their previous games.
Rocksteady.
Mm-hmm. If Destiny had came out with a game similar to this, I'd be like, hey, I'm in. Like, this is what I was expecting. It just wasn't what I was expecting from Rocksteady or what I wanted from a DC, like, role playing game.
No, I agree with you on that, and I think that's. I mean, it still remains a disappointment to me, and the delay, if anything, like I was already. So like this game went from a must buy to the State of Play being like we'll see what else is coming out that month, which I mean, like I wouldn't have bought it in May, so I mean I guess a delay is good, but like now it's just even, I don't know, for me it's like
it's still like my kind of game. It's just
I get it. For me it's not, it's something that it's definitely a negative for me in terms of where gaming's at nowadays.
But this is good news to me. The game can only get better, in my opinion, with this. So I'm all for it.
See, I don't think the game lacked polish with what we saw.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
I don't think so either. So that's why
But maybe it'll take out, like, maybe it won't be a numbers shooter. Like, get rid of, like, tone that down, or make it more simplistic, or like make it less about the numbers and loot and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, make it a RPG shooter.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Let's go to the chat real quick. What up to the day trading Doge, Microsoft? So right now we don't. We talked about this on the wrestling podcast a few weeks ago. Lance Dominguez asking about AEW Fight Forever. So the term Fight Forever is being challenged by another company, GCW, they don't own the rights to it, to my knowledge. It's just that they've named shows Fight Forever. There's a lot of wrestling politics that goes into it. I mean, that I'm not going to. Well, it's because it's like GCW is kind of buddy a little bit. So a lot, I myself and others speculate that why, like, this game was announced 3-4 years ago, and you're just now having an issue with the title of the name of the game, like the title of the game coming out. Like, the game's done, it's finished. We know that. But yeah, so right now it's in a limbo that's not AEW's fault. So we just have to be patient, wait and see. The game's done, so it's the ball's in. Unfortunately, it's in GCW's court. And yeah, Lance was actually the winner of our 500 sub giveaway.
Oh, nice.
So Lance, you need to get into our Discord and talk to producer Jeff. Go into his, slide into his DMs and hit him up.
Go get your prize. Yeah.
Yeah, go get your man. Yeah, it's a figure. It was I believe it was a Sting figure. It was either a Sting or a Lance Archer figure that he won.
Nice.
Yeah, that Sting one's nice. Rare too. He won the Sting figure, I'm being told. Yes. Okay. Great. All right. Let's move on to number 3 on our news headlines. According to Insider Gaming, a PS5 Pro is currently in development and could release in late 2024. Insider gaming sources have confirmed that the PS5 Pro is in development and could have the tentative release date of late 2024. Insider gaming previously reported that a new PS5 with a detachable disk drive is scheduled to release later this year. Understood that this new model will phase out the current PS5 to cut down on production and shipping costs. In spite of the widespread reports, this is not the PS5 Pro model. This is just the beginning of the new hardware coming to PlayStation users this generation, said one source when talking about the detachable disk drive console. As for what the specs will entail, details are limited. However, a recently published patent by PlayStation architect Mark Cerny suggests that Sony Interactive Entertainment is looking to accelerate ray tracing performance in video games. Just like with the PS4 to the PS4 Pro, we can generally guess pretty confidently that the PS5 Pro will have increased visuals, performance, and speeds, but as for leaked details, we'll have to wait until a later date to release those. Insider Gaming understands that the next generation of the PlayStation, the PS6, is unlikely to release until at least 2028. This would put the current generation console release schedule in line with its predecessors.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so Dev, obviously you're still kind of waiting to jump into the PS5, Xbox Series X generation.
Yeah.
Are you waiting for that mid-cycle?
I mean, at this point, I think I am, especially with like. So I'm glad you have this, and there's something else coming up that we'll talk about. But there's a lot of rumors with all three of the bigs having consoles in, in development, which is normal. We all expected it. It's not something like surprising.
Sure.
A lot of developer kits going around and just rumors in general. At this point, yeah, I think I would just wait till whatever. I'd stay with Xbox and just get whatever their mid-gen console is.
Makes sense.
And then whatever the Nintendo has to offer.
Right.
It's exciting though.
Well, that's a really good tie-in. So I'm actually going to skip to number 5 here.
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch has a few years left, says Nintendo of America president Doug Bowser.
That actually surprises me because I thought.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
You're okay.
I'm shocked.
There's a lot of rumors going around, and I don't know if, like, for example, there's a Mario Kart rumor where that's going to be the drop for. What else? We got Tears of the Kingdom coming out, and we're both worried about how it runs.
I'm very worried. Yes.
Day one Switches, so we're like, just if they announce a second Switch 2, whatever, I'm not getting the game for the current Switch. I'm going to wait for that. I just get that day one.
So let's jump into this real quick, and then we'll continue our thoughts. So in an interview with the Associated Press, Doug Bowser says that though a new version of the console will eventually be released, the company still sees a future for the original Nintendo Switch. As Mr. Furukawa, who is the Nintendo's president, said recently, "We're entering uncharted territory with the platform," Bowser said. "It's exciting to see that demand is still there, so nothing to announce on any future console or device. But we are still feeling very bullish about Nintendo Switch." Bowser continued by saying that the belief that the Switch will remain strong is because of its being a truly unique device. He says that because of what the console offers in terms of ways to play, makes it something that can have a strong performance over the next few years. To help with the anticipated strong performance for the console are a number of upcoming major releases for the console. Obviously, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon came out last week. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4, Minecraft Legends, and more are all coming out this year still. Other games that remain in development are Metroid Prime 4, as well as a new Detective Pikachu game. With those titles, Nintendo is expecting more hardware to be moved throughout 2023 and beyond. So I took this as two ways.
Yeah, I took this as a way as you're reading it, but I want to hear what you.
So number one, they really are just going to ride the Switch for another few years.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that terrifies me. That legitimately terrifies me because I don't know what more you can do with the Switch as it is in terms of spec wise. The second way I take it is that they are going to make it. Their next console is going to be the same as the Switch.
Okay.
And I think that obviously Nintendo is usually the company that's like, hey guys, we got to be innovative, we got to do something different, we got to be something new and fresh. But the Nintendo Switch was really good. I'm kind of hoping this is finally the time where Nintendo's like, you know what, guys, just make that bad boy as powerful as the PS5 and let's go.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because we had the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck's very powerful, so the Switch can upgrade to the Steam Deck specs and beyond. I took this the opposite way, where whatever their next console is will not be a Switch 2 or even backwards compatible to the Switch. This almost sounds like there's going to be a Switch and something else. That's the feeling I got from this.
Really?
Saying the Switch is going to be strong for the next few years makes me think, okay, then there's going to be something else beside it. Maybe a home console, a dedicated home console. But yeah. You gotta see.
That's an interesting take.
I think they might do the Switch might become the new handheld,
Hmm.
and maybe because if the Switch is selling as well as it is, you have room to play. You have room to,
Right.
and if anything happens, you fall back on the Switch.
So I would say not in terms of library, but I think the Nintendo Switch is their best console to date, just because it really is the best of both worlds. It gives everybody something.
And I think the library is, if they're going to stick with this, it's just growing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it can only go up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you have Xbox being the industry leader right now in terms of building a generational library, which is really a shame on Nintendo's part that you can't say that about Nintendo being the leader of that. But
You don't think so?
I don't think so at all.
Okay.
I can't play like.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
I can't play.
Going back.
I can't play any of these games on modern Nintendo console in any way, shape, or form.
I get what you're saying.
I could go pick up an original Xbox game from behind me.
Yeah.
Pop that bad boy in my Series X, and it'll work. Now, granted, because of licensing, there are some things,
No,
but technologically speaking, it works. Yeah. Nintendo can't do that. Next week's topic of the show, spoiler alert, is going to be about game preservation, which we're not going to talk about a lot now, but after next Monday, there will be no official way to play the Gen 1 or Gen 2 Pokemon games. Yeah. Think about that. There's no official without Yarhar, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be no way after next Monday. That's insane. But I digress. We're going to talk about that next week. So no, I would not say Nintendo is the industry leader in backwards in generational upgrades. They're not. They're not.
I mean, they could be.
They should be. Slowly. They should be. The fact that there's no GameCube games on my Switch with my NSO, like, criminal. Yeah. That's just straight up a crime. Yeah. I can't play Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door on my Nintendo Switch. You know how upset that makes me? It makes me livid. Yeah. It makes me livid. Anyways, let's back up to number 4, because that was a really good segue with Nintendo. Stalker 2, the developers say that they were hacked, and they're asking fans to stay away from leaks. Stalker 2's Heart of Chernobyl developer, GSC Game World, has revealed it was hacked by a group on a Russian social network. On Twitter, the GSC Game World team posted a statement about the hack, explaining what happened and revealing the studio has faced cyber attacks since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. They say, quote, "Recently, our employees' account for a collective work with images application was hacked," GSC Game World wrote. "The responsibility for this was claimed by a community from a Russian social network. They are threatening to use the data obtained for blackmail and intimidation. This is not the first attempt to hack and leak our data, including personal information. We have been enduring constant cyber attacks for more than a year now. We have faced blackmail, acts of aggression, hacks, attempts to hurt players and fans, and efforts to damage the development process or reputation of our company." GSC Game World is asking fans to refrain from watching or distributing information about Stalker 2 in the event that any of it leaks. The studio said that outdated and work-in-progress materials are not representative of the final product. Elsewhere in the statement, GSC Game World also reiterated its unwavering commitment to supporting Ukraine, adding that attempt to blackmail or intimidate us are completely futile. Finally, the team expressed its appreciation for the community, ending by saying, "Your support is our inspiration." And this was one of the last week's stories that got posted because we didn't do a show last week. This happened over 2 weeks ago. I haven't seen a damn thing about the game.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm surprised. I'm not gonna go looking for it.
No, I'm not going looking for either. But it's a beautiful thing from the gaming community. I mean, obviously, this story has bigger overtones that go outside of gaming. Mm-hmm. But it's really awesome to see that. Like, yeah, I haven't seen a single soul talk about this. It was kind of like if GSC hadn't said anything, they would have been like
probably doing more damage spreading it than the news.
I think people just kind of look at it and they're just like, all right, no problem. Yeah. No problem. Like, we got your back. But so yeah, I thought that was a really cool story. I wanted to make sure we kept it in here. All right, number 6 on the headlines. Assassin's Creed Codename Red to feature 2 playable characters, a samurai and a shinobi. Official details on Assassin's Creed Codename Red are still scarce, with Ubisoft so far revealing that the game is set in feudal Japan and being developed by Ubisoft Quebec. That said, a few more in development details provided under anonymity to Insider Gaming reveal that the game could be one of the best yet, especially if you're a fan of stealth, which I
am.
Yeah. Insider Gaming previously reported in February that Codename Red is already in good shape and will feature 2 playable characters. New details provide more insight into the game's characters, though, with sources stating in Codename Red there's a samurai and a shinobi. Details on how these characters will be played are limited, but it's understood that the short teaser released by Ubisoft features the game's female samurai. The other character, the shinobi, is understood to be an African refugee who has learned the way of the creed. One of the more exciting details that we've learned, though, is that the one biggest design focus of Codename Red is the focus on stealth gameplay. Seemingly, Quebec has decided to take a Splinter Cell-esque or Hitman approach to the title, with things like hiding bodies, hiding in tall grass, extinguishing lights so your shadows are not. I know.
This sounds really good.
All being current features. It's like I'm just getting giddy reading it. So I didn't read this far into the article.
Yeah.
I just like skimmed it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great for the show. So this is me reading it for the first time. This part. It's not entirely clear when Assassin's Creed Codename Red will be fully revealed, but Insider Gaming understands that the main focus at E3 will be on Mirage's gameplay premiere and formal announcement of its VR offering, Assassin's Creed Nexus. Codename Red is internally scheduled for a release of fall 2024, but we wouldn't be surprised if the game sees a 2025 release. God damn it, give me this game.
Yeah, it sounds great.
It sounds so good.
So this one is supposed to be the RPG one, right? They said this one's going to be an RPG version of the game?
Yep.
Okay.
Which, if they're going more stealth-based RPG, that's phenomenal. That's what I want.
Which is like, we both enjoyed the RPG games. It's not like we didn't enjoy them.
I enjoy the other style better.
Yeah, the action adventure one. Yeah.
Yeah.
This just sounds cool. I get a little bit of Syndicate vibes where it's like switching characters back and forth between like a shinobi and a samurai. I wonder if they play different. Like, I guess they do.
Well, they would. One would probably be stealth focused. Yeah.
So yeah, this just sounds exciting, you know?
Yeah, I'm really into what this game sounds like right now. Yeah. And I just want Assassin's Creed to be good.
Yeah.
It's one of my most beloved franchises, and the big RPGs are cool, but like, man, give me some stealth. Like, make me feel like an assassin in the Assassin's Creed universe. And like the RPG games, like I think that's where my critique of the RPG games come in. I don't feel like an assassin in those games, and I understand technically Odyssey, you're not an assassin, whatever, but like really in any of them, you're not really. I mean, Bayek is, but other than that, and even then, he's a precursor to the assassins technically. The DLC, he's an assassin, but he's not an assassin in the main game. So, I don't know.
Quick, producer Jeff here, real quick, because this is an opportunity for me to remember something from years ago.
Sure.
So there's a game for like PS1, PS2, and I think they even made one on PS3 where you're a ninja, and I feel like it's called Shinobu, but I've Googled that and it never comes up. And it's exactly what you described. So it's a stealth game where you're a ninja, and I know you've got to have one of them. And you slowly roam through like a jungle and you assassinate dudes with the sickest, like, stealth assassinations from behind and stuff like that. And it's got puzzles in it like a Zelda game. And I cannot for the life of me remember what these games were called. And it drives me insane to this day.
Would it be Tenchu?
It's possible.
So you said it was on the PS1, PS2, and PS3?
It's either PS2 and PS3 or PS1 and PS2. There was 3 of them that I know of. I played all 3. And they had it was like puzzles. Like you would go to almost like dungeons and you'd have to work your way through and murk people. I just cannot remember it. You said Tenchu?
Tenchu, yeah.
I'll Google that here and take a look.
I see Shinobito. Or Shinobito.
What did you look up? Because I just looked up PS2 Ninja games.
I put Ninja Stealth Game PS2.
Okay, yeah, there's a list of 24 or I think 30 games that are like Ninja games from the PS2 era. I would say go through those.
So yeah, producer
Jeff, I'll take a look.
I want to solve this mystery. Go look up Tenchu.
There's a lot of Tenchu games.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So that seems like that.
We know it's not Ninja Turtles.
Definitely not.
So we can cross those out.
Right.
Ninja Gaiden is also. It could be Ninja Gaiden. That's also a really good.
Yeah, but he said like a stealth game. Ninja Gaiden's not really stealthy.
Yeah, this was very stealth. Like the assassinations were so good. That's what made me love it.
Well, while producer Jeff is trying to solve this mystery and hopefully we get an update from him, let's move on to the next one because again, this is another great segue. Although it's kind of a downer. The origami developers Lindsay Works announcing their closure of the studio. The origami game is really good. Origami 2 is currently on Game Pass. It's a really dope ninja stealth game.
I want you to play a little bit.
I really highly recommend it. It's a real shame that this is happening to the developer. But Lindsay Works, the developers behind the series, they took to Twitter last week to announce that it will be closing down this April. The reason for the closure was said to be the economic context was not favorable and we ran out of time. According to the Lindsay Works website, the studio employs 16 full-time developers. Yeah, kind of a shame. You can seek out their statement on Twitter. In May 2020, they raised $3.4 million in funding led by GameSeer and had announced that the first Origami sold an impressive 500,000 copies on its own. The Origami series is an action-adventure stealth video game where players take the role of Origami, an assassin with supernatural abilities. It's a shame. The last game, Origami 2, released this past September 17th. I really enjoyed it, so this was kind of a bummer for them. It sucks to see. All right, number 8 on the headlines. Lego Disney title among multiple cancellations at TT Games, according to a report from Insider Gaming. As detailed by Nintendo Life, multiple sources have confirmed the closure of several projects at the studio TT Games. One such project was titled Project Marley, a Lego Disney game that would have included worlds such as The Jungle Book, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Winnie the Pooh. The project, which is claimed to have been canned in 2022, saw the player shifting between an overworld and themed dungeons. While exploring, they would battle to rid the world of purple corrupting force. A storyline that has since made its way successfully into the released Disney Dreamlight Valley. Another cancellation mentioned in the report was a Lego Guardians of the Galaxy game developed under the title Project Cosmos. There was also a shooter called Project Rainbow Road, which would have matched together multiple Warner Brothers IPs. Unfortunately, it utilized the Funko license, which was then lost to 1010 Games. Finally, a mobile port of Lego Worlds, originally being developed by Playdemic, has also seemingly been dropped. It seems that TT Games aren't out of the woods either. The report goes on to note that a Lego Batman game has been put on hold, and that a planned story-centric Mandalorian DLC for the Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga is currently in jeopardy at the studio. The primary reason for the cancellation and postponement, the report claims, is due to TT Games' resources being directed toward a much larger project, giving the Skywalker saga treatment to the Lego Harry Potter series.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it sucks to see them canceling these projects, but it looks like it's not that the studio is doing poorly. They're just
trying other things. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of a bummer though. I mean, like some of these other projects seem really cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would definitely play a Lego Harry Potter game that was like
all the
movies.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I still want to. Did you play the Star Wars one?
Not yet. It's in the backlog.
I really want to play that with you.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah.
I heard it's really good. Speaking of Lego, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
There are a lot of talks, and I think the kind of confirmed rumors about a Legend of Zelda Lego kit. I want to know where that at on your radar.
So
I know you're not really a Lego person.
I'm not, but I would absolutely buy it.
And I'll put it together for you.
Yeah, I'll be like Deborah here.
I would love.
I'll give you some glue. Just glue it together.
No, I would love to put it together. That sounds like fun to me.
So here's what happened. Here's what's going on with that. So there is the way that you create Lego sets is someone designs it, and then there's a website you go to and you send it in, and it needs to get enough votes to pass through for Lego to make it a set.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Legend of Zelda keeps making it to the final stages and then getting.
I think that has to do with Nintendo, though.
I think so as well.
I think Lego.
Mario is a Lego set right now. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I would love it, but I mean, we gotta wait and see what happens with it.
Okay. Yeah.
I would absolutely a Lego Triforce.
Yes,
that would be great. All right, let's just keep on moving to our next headline. Huge headline. I feel like this because
is this number 9?
This is number 9.
This is my favorite headline.
I'm so excited. A lot of people were upset when this came out, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, I'll tell you.
I want to know why. I could see a reason why, because there were things. Or just go ahead. Okay.
Folks, Starfield has a fucking release date. Announced for September 6th, 2023. The release date comes alongside an announcement that Xbox and Bethesda will hold a full Starfield Direct show on Sunday, June 11th. More on June 11th later. But let's talk about Starfield. So this video, I love this video.
This is so we disagreed on the game about how it looks, and I told you I was worried about the game,
Yeah.
like actual core gameplay. This was the first trailer I saw where I was like, okay, I love everything I see.
Yeah,
This is the first one. Like I liked the other stuff, but this was like the one that was like, okay. And then when Todd started talking at the end, I wasn't even looking at him. There were people playing the game.
in the background.
I'm staring at that. I did not look.
You know what I also really loved, and it just goes like, it's. I don't want to sound like a fanboy when I say this, but like, the culture at Xbox is just like, I just love it because it's like they have one of the producers back there, and he's like, that's Jeff or whatever his name was,
To be fair,
and he's like, hey, if you look back here at this
Yeah.
making of Morrowind
Yeah.
that we made in 2004, it's the same guy doing the same job.
To be fair, that's Bethesda. They've always but it just, I guess it just fits.
It fits. That's what I'm saying. It fits, and I love that. I just love this video so much because they start off with some gameplay. They're like, hey man, Starfield. Here's some gameplay. Here's the release date. Oh, here's Todd Howard. Oh, look at that guy in the background. Hey, you might recognize him from the Morrowind making of video we made back in 2005.
Yeah.
He's still here doing the same job, and he's like, hey guys.
But it actually like seeing gameplay of it was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's all I wanted. I wanted to see like.
So people were mad.
Are they mad? So
They're mad because
They got
Xbox
pushed out?
Xbox claimed it was coming out for first half of this year.
Yeah, but
Yeah, my thing is like, bro, it's fine.
yeah, it is fine.
Take 3 more months, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, are people really gonna get upset over like a game
And
that was supposed to come out by July, coming out in September?
And
Come on.
This game, it's one of those games where if it's in development hell or like any type of struggle in development, I 100%
Yeah.
believe it is because it's going to be the biggest game of probably our decade. Like it's that.
Oh, yeah.
big.
It's huge.
So I believe that they need all the time they can. And then you don't want this game to compete with Redfall, which is supposed to come out in
May 2nd.
Yeah, so it makes perfect sense to move it out. I think saying it coming out in the first half of the year was just something that they wanted to say.
All I'm gonna say.
Ease minds, but no, it's fine.
All I'm gonna say is, good. Get the fuck out of the way of the Legend of Zelda. Like, just get away.
Yeah.
I can see Phil Spencer sitting in the boardroom, like, and they're like, "Sir, we could get this game out by June." He's like,
Yeah, you don't want this in the way.
"Zelda comes out May 12th."
There's 100% someone that's.
There's 100%. 100%.
That's
Because
Sure.
here's the thing. Tears of the Kingdom is a massive game.
hmm
People are gonna take months to play this game,
Yeah.
and by months I mean for me probably a weekend.
I think you disappeared.
Oh. Producer Jeff, I'm gone. I'm a brick wall.
You got Thanos snapped back.
I got Thanos snapped away. I don't know what's going on. All right, well.
But yeah, I'm very excited for this game. I can't wait till June 2nd to see more. I just want more of this. That's all I want.
I know. I'm really excited for this. This is gonna be great. I can't wait for June 11th. I can't wait to sit down and get like a good 40 minutes of just like, hey guys, here's Starfield.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So there we'll talk for.
I mean,
I guess we have the same mic, so duh.
Yeah.
It's just my video that you
Yeah,
would
you're
lose.
yeah.
Anyways, so
No, it's exciting. And I
I'm
want to
back
see
in.
more. Like I said, I couldn't keep my eye on Todd Howard the whole time he was talking. I was just watching the TV screen.
yeah,
Actually, after this podcast, I'm gonna watch the release.
I'm excited. I'm so excited for Starfield.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I got out of the way of Zelda because it's like that. Like for me, like that's great. Like I know what I'm playing in May, and I know what I'm playing in September now.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the game as much.
I'm not worried about it, like really at all. I have so much faith in the team at this point. Bethesda has delayed this game at this point for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I just have confidence in the team. I think that Phil Spencer and Todd Howard and everyone at Xbox and everyone at Bethesda, they know how important this is for them to hit a home run, and I think they're going to do it. I have a lot of faith in the team.
On Discord, it's not gonna.
It's not working?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Gotta go back to the Discord.
So I guess this leads into 10.
Yeah,
Is
go
this
ahead.
the showcase that they're talking about, or are you expecting more? Because I do expect a Starfield only showcase. I don't think.
Well,
Or I guess this will be their Bethesda showcase. That makes sense.
So-
Xbox One and end up with those, which they do all the time.
So next on our news headlines,
Yeah.
so not only is there going to be a Starfield Direct on June 11th, but there will also be the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, their E3 show.
Will that be on the same day, June 11th?
Yeah.
That's their E3 summer showcase, I guess.
Yeah, so basically Xbox tweeted out, join us for the Starfield Direct following the Xbox Game Showcase on Sunday, June 11th.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to get the Xbox E3 show.
You know what day of the week that is?
It's a Sunday.
Be here, probably.
Yeah, we'll be here too. I don't know. The producer is scrambling.
So
Yeah, no, he's fine. This is fine. We're fine.
I'll fix it. Just go.
He's gonna fix it, I believe. All right, so let's talk about our last headline. Exo Primal is getting a release date, launching day one on Game Pass. And I know producer Jeff said something about this in the Discord. He thought this game looked really cool, if I recall correctly. Capcom has confirmed that Exo Primal, its upcoming co-op game about killing dinosaurs, will be launching day one on Game Pass. It supports cross-platform play between consoles within the same family. So I assume that means Xbox and okay, interesting. Xbox Series and Xbox One probably, PS5, PS4 probably.
is this made by the people who did Dino Crisis? Is this them?
I mean, it's Capcom. I'm not 100% sure of the actual development team, but Exo Primal does look pretty good.
It looks like Anthem shooting dinosaurs.
Oh.
But it also looks like a very what is it called? A bullet hell kind of game, but you're the shooter.
Yeah.
A lot of targets.
Yeah. I think Capcom's on a roll right now. I mean, I don't know did you see the review scores for Resident Evil 4?
No, I haven't.
10s.
I believe it.
It's getting 10s.
I believe it.
I can't wait.
When does it come out?
This Friday.
This Friday? Okay.
Yeah. Gonna pick it up. I don't know if I'm starting it this week. Actually, I know I'm not starting it this week because I'm still playing Octopath Traveler.
Yeah. Your next one.
No, I have to play Zelda. I have to play the next Zelda game. I have to go buy it. I have to.
Broke it by playing this game.
I just switched. And that's why I have to make it right. I'm thinking I have this crazy idea, and it's probably not a good idea, where it's like just because I want to get all the Zelda games in by Tears of the Kingdom, April just might be like Zelda. I'm thinking about it. I'm legitimately thinking about it. Because Octopath Traveler 2 I knew was going to be a longer game. I'm like 40 hours in. Loving it, by the way. Can't wait to review it for everyone. I already have a score in mind. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's changing, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think after Octopath, I mean, it's March 20th. We'll see how these 10 days play out. But if it's like April 1st, happy birthday, me, and I'm not done Octopath by then, I'm probably just going to say, okay, April, here we go. Zelda. Just to get ready for Tears of the Kingdom, because I really do want to play them all, including Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is the big one that I really need to play before Tears of the Kingdom comes out again. Or comes out, period.
I think you should skip some to make it there.
That's just not how it goes, Devroro. That's not how the list goes. But anyways. That's it for the news headlines. Let's talk about the game releases coming out this week for the week of March 20th. First up, we have Remnant from the Ashes coming out on the Nintendo Switch on March 21st. Tachia comes out on PS5, PS4, and PC on tomorrow, March 21st as well. Now, this game is a PS Plus day one release. They need more of these.
Yeah.
But this is a pretty anticipated indie game coming to the service. Have a Nice Death comes out on Switch and PC on March 22nd. A Taylor Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key comes out on PS5, PS4, Switch on March 23rd. I've heard of these games. I actually have the first two in my Amazon wishlist. Never played them, but something about them makes me want to try them. But not, you know what I mean? Like, they're really low on the wishlist priority.
I've never heard of these.
They look good. I haven't seen a lot, but I've seen a little bit where it's like, oh, these look like fun JRPGs. Also coming out this week, Storyteller comes out on Switch and PC March 23rd. And the main release of the week, Resident Evil 4 Remake, comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, the PS4, and PC on March 24th. So obviously my game of the week is going to be Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this game. I love Resident Evil 4, the original one, and the reviews for this game are glowing. It's absolutely glowing.
I think I have to agree with you on that. I think the other one, the Chia game, also looked pretty cool when we saw it. It looked like like what is it, Mario? She's turning into different animals,
Yeah.
and all that. And
Breath of the Wild
Breath of the Wild
kind of
esque,
game.
yeah, music.
Breath of the
But-
Wild ass game.
I think I agree with you more on the Resident Evil 4. I just, from what I saw, and I know you didn't watch it on purpose.
Yeah.
It looks like a great, like a really good upgrade. Yeah, you're gonna enjoy it, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. You know what? Let's get into the topic of the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was going through cleaning up the desolate section of the game room, the corner that Devroro knows, because I had a bookcase that collapsed over there, and so it's just been a mess, right? So I'm going through, and I come across all of these. These are Game Informers. These are the foundation of our friendship, Devroro. We would sit there in high school with Forrest and a few other guys, and we would go through these and we would read these. And like I had my GameStop Power Up rewards, and I would get the Game Informer every week. This I believe is the first, unless I'm missing some, which I think I might be. This is the first issue that I have, issue 193, Assassin's Creed 2, world exclusive. There's the Crackdown 2 cover.
Yeah.
The top 200 or issue 200 from Game Informer. Then we're not just going through this list right now. I see LA Noire, Gears 3, Infamous 2. But like, so my point is that I kind of wanted to take a minute, or in this case, several minutes, and kind of reminisce about gaming in the past, and kind of start a conversation / discussion about what did gaming back then do better than gaming today. Now that doesn't just include the games themselves. It also includes I guess the gamer lifestyle, I guess you could say, just being a gamer and you know, the release schedule, the news schedule, cycle, whatever. So let's just kind of jump right into it, because I did write a few things down when I was thinking today. So
I guess one that sticks out for me
go for it.
immediately is you put the game in and you play it. You don't gotta wait.
Yeah, okay.
That was so much that kills the excitement of going and getting a game. Like, oh man, I can't wait to play this game. You put it in, and now you have to wait another hour to download, depending on your internet speed or how big the game is or whatever. You're just like, all right.
So I had 8 things on this list that I made. That was one of them.
Yeah.
So Day One Nightmares, which was the number 4 thing that I wrote. There is nothing more deflating than, especially nowadays as an adult, because when you're a kid, it's one thing. You feel like you have endless amounts of time. But like as an adult, it's especially worse, where it's like, you know, you take off work or you stay home from school to play this game, and it comes out and you're so excited and you have it pre-ordered, and you go home and you put the game in, or you go and you install the game on digitally, and oh wow, look at that 200 gigabyte download.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And then you get online and it's like, oh, and then there's a 60 gig day one patch.
Yeah.
And then you finally get through the day one patch, and the servers are just crashed because it's day one of the game.
I haven't had to deal with that. I guess that's more of a multiplayer thing.
Sure.
I haven't dealt with that too much, but the other stuff is, yeah. And I get why. Like, I get why there's day one patches and all that stuff. It just sucks.
Right. Yeah. It's a real shame. Whereas back then, you got a game, took it out of the box,
It was finished.
you put it in,
Yeah.
you turned it on, you unrolled your controller, and then there it was. It was ready to go.
Yeah.
Crazy times. Witchcraft, some would say, today's standards. I don't know how we strayed so far from the light on this one, because it's like, man, we used to have it where it was instantaneous.
As we go through the list, I'm going to tell you, like, this is one of the ones where, as good as it was, I wouldn't go back.
Okay, that's fair.
And there are other things I probably would want to go back to.
Sure.
But this is one of the ones where
you would.
I don't want to go back.
Because you like the installs.
It's not that I like the installs. It's that I like the updates. I like the quality of life that they can give a game at just a few months or years after. Like, I think Nintendo like still updates their games years afterwards. It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, let's go into. Let's see, where did I write? Let me check that one off since we talked about that one. AAA games, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
The expectation of what a game should be when it launches. And what I mean by that is games launching in a broken state.
Yeah.
Nowadays, back then, it just didn't happen. Like obviously it did happen, and those games didn't sell, and we don't talk about them because we don't know they exist because nobody played them.
Yeah.
But like, could you imagine like the biggest release of 2002 like being broken? Like no, because like gaming. This is one place where I think gaming's gotten worse, and like this is the devil's advocate of you're like, oh well, it's great that they can update the game. That also hurts us as gamers, and it goes into the day one nightmares that I'm talking about. Is what if that game's broken and it needs to be updated badly because they just shipped it? Look at Fallout 76. That game, I think that game looks pretty good by now standards. That game came out 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. How long did that game go without being really, like, let's just say presentable? It went a good while. And then in Todd Howard, this was probably the lowest point for me with Bethesda. This was right before Xbox purchased them. He does an interview with IGN. He's like, hey, look, man, in today's world, like you can ship a game however, and you know that you can fix it down the line, and that's great. It's like, no, that's not great. Yeah. You're setting a precedent that it's like, whatever, let people buy it, and then we'll fix it. We just need the sales. Yeah. Like that sucks.
It does suck. I don't like the.
And that's something, and that's why I would say I would go back if I could.
Okay, I guess I could see why. I still wouldn't, but I see why.
I get it. Expansions, DLCs, updates, like new content is great. But the problem is that it's with most things, it's all or nothing. So it's like I would much rather purchase a game and that be the game for the rest of forever if it meant that I know it was going to be polished and not broken. Because you never know. You really don't know. So
there are also a lot of things that you don't find until after the game is out.
That's why you have QA testers. But I get it.
You have QA testers, but like there's always that one person that's like, hey, if you walk at this wall a certain way, and it's like.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna do one better. I'm gonna say that type of thing makes the games better.
You think so?
Yeah. Pokemon, when we were kids, the missing number glitch.
As long as it's not game breaking, I think it's fun. But Bethesda's known for having glitchy games in all their games. Like,
sure,
it's one of those things that they're just known for. Starfield's going to come out. There's going to be some crazy glitch.
Sure.
As long as it's not game breaking, I think I agree with you. It's okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that adds to the beauty of gaming. Like, the missing no glitch is the one I'm going to keep going to. Or like in Mario 64, the backwards long jump up the stairs, so you can skip right to the last Bowser level with only like 50 stars as opposed to like the 75 you need. Like just things like that. Or like in Ocarina of Time, you can like backflip over one of the little fences of the Dongo's Cavern to get a heart piece. Like they didn't intend for you to be able to do that. That's a heart piece you're supposed to get at the end of the game when you're an adult.
You are mentioning a lot of Nintendo games, which are usually come out, 90%, 95% finished.
Right. And that's the thing. I'm like these games, like I'm just saying, like I think that it's okay for there to be some glitches, like you said, as long as it's not game breaking. But it's like nowadays, in the day of patches, you get game breaking glitches all the time.
Yeah.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This didn't make the headlines because actually I don't know why I didn't make the headlines. A couple of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. People downloading the expansion pass right now are losing their save data. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't buy the expansion pass yet. Also, I don't know why you would buy it this early. But people that did lost hundreds of hours of save data.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that is heartbreaking. Could you imagine if your Pokemon Silver data just like you woke up one day and you were just like when we were growing up, like, oh, your Pokemon save data for Silver is just gone. That's devastating.
It's devastating.
How many times that happened as a kid?
I can also see I admit not knowing this,
sure.
Not knowing that this, I would 100% download an expansion pass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
It's breaking games. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying expansion pass to a game that you like. I don't think that's bad.
I don't think that's bad, but I'm just saying, like, you got to take it all or nothing. If you gave me the choice of saying, like, hey, no more expansions, but games are going to be polished when they come out from now on, give me the polished games.
I guess.
Yep.
Because 100% promised.
Just saying in this theoretical vacuum that we're in right now. That is the Game Room podcast. All right. Next up on my list. This is not about the games themselves. The way we get our news. Now, this is one where I would say I would not go back. But I think that the way we get our news now is so, like, it's the internet. It's so quick. It's
Yeah.
so, and like it's great to have it that way. But like I remember a time where the Assassin's Creed, that was the number one. I remember a time where, you know how I found out about Assassin's Creed 2? It was Game Informer. I mean, like that actually probably was still a little late because YouTube was a thing in 2009 and 10.
Mhm.
But like, you get my point. Like there was a time where like I would be turning the pages of a Game Informer and I would be like, whoa, what is this? Like, what is this actually? Oh, yeah.
He's discovering something in 2009 he's never seen before.
Mag. Oh, you remember Mag?
I remember the rumors of Mag of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was. I would love to see Mag get released in today's world. Anyways, like so, for example, I remember reading about Mag the first time, and I was like, "This sounds awesome."
Yeah.
It was on the PS3. It was like
Wasn't it like 50, like a 50?
It was like 100v100, and like
Okay.
there was a general who would give orders to like the commanders, and the commanders would have platoons of players, and like it was all players. It was such a cool idea, and I would love to see it made in today's world. But anyways, my point is like there used to be something special in the way we got our gaming news, in the sense that it like, you know, whether it be like a commercial or an E3 press conference or like just whatever, like game news used to be a lot more exciting than it is now.
I think I agree with that.
And like again, this is one that I would not go back, because obviously getting that instantaneousness of being able to know all about games, I love it. It's
Yeah.
great. But it doesn't feel as special as it used to.
And
Like, could you imagine if, like, say you got your Game Informer in the mail, right? Here, I'll give you one. Make it relevant. Let's say we got a Game Informer in the mail, and you open it up, and there on page 3, Starfield release date September 6th, and you're just like, what? You're like flipping through, and in the end, it's like, hey, tune into E3 this June to see Starfield gameplay.
The possibility of FOMO with that though was so high.
It was,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, I would not want to go back. I do think if magazines made a return, it should be cooler. It should be like niche stuff, things like maybe exclusive interviews with developers and maybe like just images, some game art. I think that would be really cool.
Sure.
But
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So here's another one, and you could say, but Rome, like this is still a thing, and I'll argue, yeah, sure, but it's not exactly the same. The experience of buying a video game.
no, actually, I think I agree with you on this one. We talked about like midnight releases and going to
Yeah,
pick up the
so-
game and how, but I will say this is another one that I don't think I would go back.
See, this is
I-
when I would. This is when
I went to a few midnight releases and they were really fun. I actually went for Assassin's Creed, which is topical.
Yeah.
And I also went for Halo 3 midnight release. And there were people in the, I think we talked about this. Madden was also releasing on one of those same days.
Yeah.
So people were playing football in the parking lot at midnight, and I'm just catching a football. My mom's sitting in the car waiting for me to get back.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was exciting. So I agree with that excitement of being around other like-minded people just there for the same reason.
So here's why I say it's also not the same, right? So obviously, number one, digital's a thing. So obviously, I care about way more about physical, and it's going to go into a big part of the topic for next week as well.
Mhm.
But there is something special about getting that, and maybe I'm just sentimental like that, you know, whatever. But there is something special about buying a video game, having it in your hands. You know, now it's
Wait, this is a separate topic. We should do this one next.
okay. So I'll stick to
Yeah,
the
because I agree with you on this one.
okay. Okay.
But with midnight releases and in general, I do like the feeling of like.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
I was tying it all together.
Yeah, no, I
But
think
so-
it should be a separate one because that is a big topic and I want to talk about that.
Okay,
too.
okay. So there is nothing like the experience of going to a midnight release when, like you said, it's just a bunch of like-minded people who are just so excited for it. And something that you're gonna laugh at me for this one, but something that I hate about midnight releases now is you don't have to be in line to get your game at midnight. You can go in now. Like for GameStop, for example, you go in at 9 o'clock. Before 9 o'clock, you pay out your pre-order.
Yeah.
They give you a sticker, and whatever your number for that sticker is when you're gonna get your game. So it's not like, oh, you have to wait around till midnight. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You like the struggle of it. Everyone's
Kind of.
struggling together.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It builds camaraderie. It builds unity, and like honestly, like
It's one of those things where it's like,
it builds anticipation. And a lot of times, what they would do is like I always remember Call of Duty Black Ops 1 had such a cool midnight release that I went to. They had a whole Call of Duty party. Everybody was inside playing the game for the first time before midnight. So like everybody's like at these demo kiosk booths, and we're just playing the game. So like I think they ordered pizza. And if you had a receipt that showed you were like one of the first people like there or whatever, like they gave you like a number on your receipt, but not to leave and come back, but to say like, hey, if you're like one of the first 20 people in line, like we got pizza coming. Like, oh, cool. And they had like a DJ and they had like it was like it's a party. And then I even think of like other times where it's like when I waited out in line for a PS4 on Black Friday. Like just out there for a few hours and it's freezing and just people just talking about video games. And then like of course you have like someone's phone goes off and it's the Metal Gear sound and then like my phone goes off and the Zelda sound. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Like
I have to imagine this still exists for Nintendo games. I feel like for some reason, waiting outside of a store, especially like in big cities, like waiting for a Nintendo game to drop, I feel like that still exists.
So here's where I'll say no. So I picked up Scarlet and Violet at a midnight release here in the Northeast for GameStop, and it sucked.
All right.
Like I went in there and like again they did the sticker thing, so it's like people were just walking in the door at 11:58, and like because we didn't spend the time there talking throughout the night, there was no camaraderie whatsoever. Everyone just kind of showed up in the last 10 minutes of the 11 o'clock hour, and we just got in line, and like there was some small talk, but again like when you're doing a midnight release, you're waiting for like at least 4 hours together. Like you have time to meet these people. Whereas like when I went to the Scarlet Violet thing, no, it didn't happen. It was just like
I went
all right.
I went to the midnight release for the Nintendo Classic at
Mhm.
Walmart, and I was standing in this massive line. I got there pretty early. I think I was 17th in line, and they started passing out tickets that you had to have to purchase yours. And I hear him say, "We've only got 16 tickets," and I'm like, pretty sure I counted I'm number 17. And he literally gets to the lady in front of me and hands her the last ticket, and he's like, "Sorry, everyone." And I was just like, "Yep, that's my luck."
Yeah, consoles can be a great waiting for, because I remember I went with you to pick up your console, and
That was the last time. That was the last time I had
But
that feeling.
I do think consoles can do that because you have to wait in line for that one. And,
Exactly.
it sucks, but there is a limited amount for
Yeah.
each, especially with this generation. So yeah, that does suck.
Yeah. All right. So you wanted to talk about physical versus digital, which I actually, believe it or not, I didn't write on this list.
Yeah, that one came up as soon as you talked. I was like, that should be its own topic.
Well, I think it was because we were talking, like, again, next week is going to be about game preservation. I feel like we're going to have this discussion then, but we can talk about it now. I do think that there is a really, I'll keep it in the then versus now discussion. So I think that there's nothing cooler than buying a video game and reading the back of it on your way home and like opening
you like physical? I didn't notice. I didn't notice where it was. I didn't know you were team physical. But okay.
Yeah, I know. This is actually a green screen. There's nothing there. But
I agree.
Opening up, especially when the games had manuals, and
I was literally about to say,
open up the game and you're like,
in my memory of it, I could be wrong, but when I went to that midnight release for Halo 3, as soon as I got in the car, I opened the game and read the manual the entire way home. Like I just remember doing I couldn't play the game in the car obviously, and I just remember that was just the fun part.
What's up to the coup? We're talking about old video games. Well, old versus now. So look at this, right? So I just opened up this Ocarina of Time, and like number one, how fucking cool getting this, and like, oh man, looking at the back, and you're like, oh wow, look, sneak peek of Wind Waker and Metroid Prime, and like you're reading the back, and you open it up, there's a manual. I mean, you got the safety thing, but no one ever read the safety thing. And then like
those are a big deal for me. Those manuals, those little game things, those are a big deal for me. I love those.
So look how dope this is. So yeah, that's the Ocarina of Time. And then look at this. Look at this that came with it as well. Oh, I guess you want to show that off first. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like controls for the game, like the thing I read in the.
They also exactly
playing the game,
and they would put a little bit of lore in there too. Like you could find like some little story stuff. To the notes section. I never wrote in the notes section.
Yeah, I got read it later on, just kind of fun.
And then here's like an old Nintendo throwback. So if you look at the back of it, it has the old Mario Nintendo support logo, which is it used to be Mario as like a tech guy. Here, show
800 255 3700.
Guaranteed.
Do you have any of the old Final Fantasies that have like 4 discs? Those booklets are huge.
Oh yeah.
So look at this one. Look at this. Look, this came with it too. That is a preview booklet for the Wind Waker.
Yeah, this is insane. You're not going to see this ever again.
No. And look how beautiful it is. It's like, mind you, this came out
artwork just on the back. Like
right. This was before the Wind Waker came out. Like This isn't like, oh hey guys, buy this game that's already out, the Wind Waker.
Yeah, you're not gonna get Tears of the Kingdom and it's like here's a preview for our next game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
No,
you're not getting that.
no,
This
you're
is
not.
awesome.
But so like again, like this is something that like I will always cherish because it's just such a cool part of buying a video game, reading the box, and then like obviously as a kid you're not the one driving, so you have time to open it and you get to like read it and like it has that new game smell, like which is just plastic. But
again, this is another one that I'm on the fence of because I know we're moving digital and I like having physical and all that. I will say that the happy medium is getting those art books that they sell afterwards. Or getting like they have art books, they have like development books that like Starfield's gonna come out with a book just for art and stuff like that. I got the Gotham Knight one is I think the last one I got. So I do think that's a happy medium. You get more content in those books as well.
sure.
It just it's one of those things.
I just think physical,
Actually, when I got
physical over digital, man.
Kingdom Hearts 3, they gave me like a big poster.
Yeah.
I got that from GameStop. I didn't even get it from like the game itself. I think I have a bag, like some like Sora bag, which is kind of cool.
That's from GameStop. That's from GameStop. Well, that's from the physical edition of Fire Emblem 1. That's from GameStop, the Tomb Raider one, which had to get taken down because of the new Finvies up. But like, yeah, like physical forever, man. I'll fight it. I'll fight it to the very end. I will be the last man on earth to buy a physical video game.
Yeah.
I promise that on my grave. As long as I'm alive and there's a physical video game to buy, I'm gonna buy it. That's gonna be the way I buy it, hands down. Like I want to buy Tunic. Tunic's getting a really cool physical. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I'll look it up right now.
Look it up on BestBuy.com. It comes with like a manual, and the manual looks exactly like the NES Zelda manual. Producer Jeff, you should also check it out. Now the manual itself has spoilers in it, so I don't want to look too far into it. But
I think that's cool because the whole game was about collecting pages.
And, for the manual. The manual, you get the manual with the physical copy.
That's really cool.
It is. I really want to get it. Comes out in July. So excuse me. Anyways. All right, next up on our list. Let's talk about less is more sometimes. So now we're going to kind of get into like the games themselves and not just the experience around being a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had this discussion a lot. I think today's gaming, it tries to be big for the sake of being big. I think that back in the day, games were a lot smaller, but they were a lot more condensed, if that makes sense. There was a lot more meat to the bone, as opposed to like nowadays, open world games are a dime a dozen, and there's almost all of them are too big for their own good.
That was actually when we were just talking about Starfield. When my biggest worry about that was the size of it. I remember you. I mean, you could probably talk about your experience with Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
It's just, I agree.
It was too big.
Yeah, it's too big.
I would have liked the game so much more if it was half the size.
And then you have on the other side, I feel like some games somehow use the bigness, the vastness of it in a good way. If you look at Red Dead Redemption, those games are Red Dead Redemption 2 is a massive game, and somehow it works for the game. I guess it has to serve a purpose. Breath of the Wild is also like a very massive game, but it works for the game. So I don't know. It's a delicate balance. I think it depends on a good developer or not. But
so I'm gonna pull a Jeff here because Jeff does this all the time when people are talking. He someone in the chat says something about something in his background.
Mm-hmm.
So the Coog is talking about how he used to have an old NES. So I have right here the original Legend of Zelda. This is a custom game case, but it is the exact replica of the original box. Open it up.
It's like a Blockbuster video.
Yeah, basically it is. So number one, game manual for Zelda 2 for the NES, which I also have Zelda 2. That has lore in it. You can open that up, and that actually has the story of the game. I got that for $10. That manual, I was like, holy shit. Anyways, inside, this is for the Coog. I got the golden cartridge, Legend of Zelda. I don't know if that's coming through very well, Jeff.
Move it around. It's very shiny. It looks very nice though.
Look at that. I also have Zelda 2 in one of those old school Nintendo sleeves. Yeah, Zelda 2. Bam, look at that. I don't own an NES, but I own 2 NES games. That's how much I love The Legend of Zelda. I'll take that manual back.
Did you know that sometimes a fairy appears along with the enemy and Link can recover his life when he touches the fairy?
I do. I didn't know that. Look at that. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to get one for this one, right?
Yeah, I still need to get a case for it. CustomGameCases.com. Changing the game, man. That website is incredible.
Pretty sure those insert booklets are worth a decent.
Yeah.
$1
Well,
too.
again, I got this Zelda 2 manual, $10.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll put that back later. But I just wanted to show Coog that because he was talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
Jeff always does that, so I wanted to do it for once.
I do agree though that less can sometimes be more. More sometimes is too much.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Anyways, so the games, they just I think about like a game like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Final Fantasy VII. Like if you compare the Final Fantasy VII world to like an open world of today's day and age, which like you can't compare them. It's so much bigger than Final Fantasy VII. But Final Fantasy VII is a masterpiece because of like it takes the space it has and it makes itself feel bigger than it really is. It gives scale, and it gives scale in a really authentic way where it's like games nowadays can just be like, all right, we're gonna create scale by just making the map really big.
Yeah.
Whereas like games back then, they had to make you feel like you were in a big world because they couldn't just make the big world.
It's also one of those things where when we were younger, we wanted that game.
Sure.
We were like, man, I can't wait till a game where you have a whole city to play in. And we got it. And it's like, no, not like this.
Yeah, no, not like this.
Again, there are games who do it well. Rockstar does a really good job with making the big city or big, they make it part of the story. Nintendo does a good job with it, even though they don't do that many open world games.
Right.
I guess it just depends. Ubisoft isn't that good with it.
Yeah. All right. So, my next point, and we have 3 more points to go. I feel like games back then were more willing to experiment than they are now. I think games nowadays are more safe bets. There's less risk taking, and I'm talking about games in general. Obviously, you have your Nintendos out there who are they'll take whatever leap they can. But I feel like generally speaking, in the games industry as a whole, they're a lot less likely to take chances or make something new, make something crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of this one might be. I think we have more knowledge because there's so much more in game development. We see all the clones, we see all the trend chasers, we see that more often. But you do see I don't know. There are certain games. We were just talking about Tunic. I don't know. It's a Zelda-like game, but it's completely different than a Zelda game. I don't know. It's not a trend chaser. You know what I mean? It does something new.
So
the old formula.
So I'll bounce back off of that and say yes, indie games are the games that are indie games are the ones that are making that. That's why I said to start this, I said more so AAA games.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that more then.
What up to TJ? He loves this topic. Yeah, TJ, it was great chatting with you the other day. This was actually so I had 2 things that made me want to do this topic. One was our talk. We actually talked about old versus new, but then also I don't know how long you've been here. I pulled out some of my old Game Informer issues. So it made me go down this rabbit hole. I have a lot of them.
There's a stack right here of at least 50, 60.
Yeah, I'll just real quickly once again for TJ because I know he's just joining us. Look at all these Game Informers. Oh man, from years and years and years and years of collecting. Thank you to GameStop for the Power Up Rewards program. Even back when it was free.
I never had.
Actually, you know what? No, I didn't have it was free. I think it was like $5 for a time, and it came with this. Yeah. Anyways, the Coog says less risk taking, less creativity. Sounds like triple banana booking. You don't know what that means. WWE. Exactly, Coog. That's a great way to look at it, actually. So yeah, I mean, I just think that games back then were more willing to take chances, more willing to do something experimental, do something new. I don't feel like the games nowadays do that. I think they generally play it safe. They look at the industry leaders, even if they don't want to admit that they do. They look at wow, look how good Breath of the Wild is. It's just our version of Breath of the Wild. I don't know. I just think that TJ says, "Damn man, I had to do so much magazines and they're all gone. Love the fact you collect them all." Yeah, I think I might have lost a few along the way between a few moves over the years, but I think this is generally all of the ones I've had. Might be missing a few. But... All right, our next point. Games back then felt like projects of passion. Whereas I feel like, again, I guess this kind of goes in with my. I think these 2 points kind of go together, so I'll kind of put them together, couple them together. I think that back then, and I understand that it's always been an industry that has made products. I'm not saying it's not the case, but I feel like gaming back then felt more like artists making art, whereas now I feel like games being made today feel more like services and products. And like obviously games back then were a product, and obviously games today do take art, but I just feel like the priority and the focus has shifted as the years have gone on.
Yeah, I think that might have something to do with like just the internet in general. There's so much more communication. You can updating games. So I guess I get that.
Yeah. So TJ in the chat says games in general, AAA games in general, just cost a lot to make. Being different is a risk, and the biggest stakeholders don't like risks.
Yeah.
They dictate. And I agree.
Yeah. It still sucks. I agree with it.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo does a really good job with, like we said before, they still do a good job with innovating. Or even if they're gonna like copy an old game they did, they add a lot to it. Like I'm excited for Pikmin 4 because even though it's the 4th game in their franchise, I think there's gonna be a lot of new stuff we see. You know, there's already a dog they showed off.
Yeah, the dog.
So I guess it just, and I guess it ties in with the passion. You need passionate developers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't know, man. I think that just kind of looking through these old Game Informers, like, obviously, there are games that have come out in the last decade that I love. Absolutely. And I still love games. Like, right now, I'm playing Octopath Traveler 2. I can't wait to review that game and talk about that game. But, like, I don't know, man. I just think that games back then, there's something special about them. And could it be nostalgia? I mean, obviously, absolutely. There is some of that comes into play. But I don't know.
I honestly think it's all nostalgia because in 20 years, when the next group of kids are making a podcast on their VR headsets, they're going to be talking about the games that are coming out today. When the Xbox One was their first console, or the PS5 is their first console, they're going to be talking about The Last of Us 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just think I think it's nostalgia.
Maybe, perhaps. I don't know. I think producer Jeff stepped out.
Yeah.
The first day of spring, he wants us to read his water ice. So we actually have to kill time until he's done, because I got nothing else. So how are you doing? Welcome everybody.
We can just continue talking.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to the Game Room Podcast After Dark. All right. So what do you want to talk about? Because I got nothing else planned.
Is that the last topic of older games?
I mean, that was all I got. Yeah. I think both. So I'll give final closing thoughts on this. I think that games. See, I like talking. Maybe when I get this gaming desk, we can have a setup where we're like on the same camera or something. Yeah, we gotta experiment a little bit. But anyways, my closing thoughts on this is that I think that games, you need to look at gaming as a whole. I think that, like, obviously there's some stuff we would go back if we could, and other things we wouldn't. And I think that in order to really appreciate the media, the art form of video games, I think you need to pay attention to both. I think you got to look at what the past did and acknowledge what the past did and enjoy what the past did, while still keeping an eye to the future. That's what I would say.
Well, so you can read what TJ is saying. They tested Splinter Cell and people want a more action-oriented game, and yet we talk about Assassin's Creed moving away from the action-oriented game.
Sure.
Like, for them to do Assassin's Creed Origins, I think that's a big leap for them.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to try something new. And it kind of worked out. And I do like the idea of doing both. We both talked about that. We like the idea that both can exist. And I think they're moving towards that. I don't know. I wouldn't want to go back because I've already tasted what the future looks like. And I like it.
Oh, what's that mean? The future is now, old man.
Yeah. Yelling at you. Especially with, VR is, for me, that's a big step.
Yeah.
Being in the game, being the character, physically punching an enemy or something like that, shooting an enemy. I love that. Yeah.
We got to get TJ on the pod because I would love to see you two have a good conversation. Because I had a great conversation with him. I would love to see what you guys can
Yeah, TJ, you told me. So hopefully I'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah, we gotta put something together. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely get him on here.
Yeah, producer Jeff is back in the building. Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much all I got for it. Producer Jeff, how's your Ritas? What did you get?
I'm sorry, what's that?
How's your Ritas? What did you get?
Oh no, we haven't gone yet. We're going after the pod. I was just getting dressed.
He said
I was still in my work clothes.
saying BRB getting Ritas, so I thought he had gone to Ritas, so I had to kill time.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay, well, I mean that's pretty much all I got. Do you have anything else, Deb?
No.
All right, let's close out this show. This has been episode 18 of the Game Room Podcast. If you like this video, please give a like and subscribe on your way out. Also, check out some of our other videos. There was no Game Room last week due to hectic schedules, but there should be an episode next week. I already know the topic's going to be about game preservation. We'll be talking about it. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you check out our wrestling shows with the Broken Tables podcast. We do a AEW Dynamite and Rampage review every Wednesday night and every Friday night, except for this Friday night, Jeff. I have to talk to you about that. I think I already did.
You mentioned it, but we didn't come up with anything yet. We'll figure it out.
Okay, we'll talk we'll talk later. Anyways, check us out on Wednesdays and Fridays talking about wrestling. Mondays talk about video games. So you can follow us at our social medias in the description below. I'm Rome. He's Dev. Producer Jeff. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Peace.